Welcome to Lofoten, day 2. So today is road trip time. Got the car all loaded up, checked out of a hotel. Time to hit the road. Got some special locations in mind today. Gonna be doing some droning potentially and see what this island has in store. Let's get going. Right, made our first stop for today. Arrived in a town which we can't remember the name, or would be able to pronounce it anyway, so it doesn't matter, I guess. And this place is super famous for a football pitch. It's like we're expecting a football pitch that extends on an island out into the ocean. So seen the shot on Instagram many times. It's definitely one of the classics, and gonna see if we can find the place, get the drone up in the air, and get our own take on this. Let's go see if we can find it. Just arrived at the aforementioned football field. Here it is. Wasn't crazy hard to find in the end, but it looks pretty cool. And first thing that caught my eye off composition wise, as Louis pointed out, is this lighthouse up here, or whatever those buildings are. So I think it'd be cool to include those in the shot, not just the football pitch. And yeah, let's see if we can launch a drone in there. It's actually Antoine's. He's brought it along, and let's take it from there. One successful drone flight later, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it was good. It was fucking windy, but I think we got the shot, hopefully.
Yeah, warning indicators were going crazy.
Starting to rain as well.
Land immediately, ASAP, make it happen, come on. But like, yeah, we kept going.
We managed and
got the shot.
Good.
Now, next step for us is we're busy crossing that football field. Gonna be doing some more location scouting, see if we can find another composition. I don't have one in mind just yet, or none that I've seen on Instagram previously, but you never know. Just gonna see if we can find. There's also a lighthouse up ahead. Lighthouses and rocks and waves and stuff always look cool, but can't promise too much. Let's see if we can find something. So there's definitely a composition to be had here. Loving these rocks, got some waves in the ocean, and then obviously these rocks actually have some really interesting texture, and if you use them right, with the right lens and the right angle, you can use them as leading lines that would lead up to these houses. So that's the plan anyway. Weather's miserable, it's raining from all angles, and we're going to try to set up a shot anyway and see if we can walk away with something good. So these conditions are really horrible, and that's impacted my shooting technique for my next shot, but I did find a composition I'm really happy with, and I got the shot, and I'll talk you just through how I got that. So because it's so rainy and there's a lot of water coming onto the front of the lens, I decided to shoot handheld because I'm literally wiping the lens and then 2 seconds later taking the shot. And I've gone with my 18mm prime lens from Zeiss, and here's the shot I had in mind. If you get really low to the ground, like really low, the foreground is a lot more dramatic because you get the ridges and they're a lot more prominent in your shot and in your composition. And that's what I've gone with. Another few things I wanted to combine in this composition is, so the great thing about this house up here is it's man-made, and that gives you a great sense of scale to see just how gigantic and majestic these cliffs really are, and they really are breathtaking. And then another thing I always like to include in my compositions is a bit of order, and the crashing waves onto the rocks here gives a lot of drama. So yeah, all these things considered, and the handheld shot, I had to shoot quite fast. Shot at 100th of a second, I think. And then f11 just to get a lot of depth of field, because I want these rocks to be in the foreground, but also the background of the house. And that meant I had to bump up the ISO to 160, which isn't ideal. Reason being it's handheld, and in ideal conditions, you should never bump your ISO up. Always shoot at ISO 100, use a tripod, and then rather have a longer shutter speed. But in these conditions you got to act fast, wipe the lens, get the shot. By the time you've set a camera up on a tripod, the lens is full of water, and the same thing applies to adding a filter. By the time you've slid it in, gotten your settings in, gotten your shot, there's so much water and your shot's gone anyway. So yeah, because of that I'm shooting handheld, no filters, and in that case it's good to just bump the ISO a bit. But using a full frame camera and shooting raw, it's not a problem. With ISO 160 you got so much dynamic range regardless, and really happy with the outcome. Let me stop rambling and show you the shot. Here it is. Enough gallivanting around in the rain. Just made Antoine wait all that time while I was filming the vlog and taking the shot. Very patient guy.
Yeah,
what do you rate?
Just enjoying summer in Norway, really.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Sniffing noses, 7 degrees, pouring rain.
Gloves.
Of course. Summer essentials, of course. But at least we're not getting sunburnt, so always plus in summer. So let's head back into the car, enjoy the comforts of a warm car, and try head to location number 2. We came across some pretty spectacular sights along the way and made us stop and take in the moment. This turquoise water had a tropical feel, the very last thing you'd expect in the Arctic Circle in northernmost Norway. Just parked up and doing another random side trip. Found a little hill that overlooks a bay and we found a cool ship there. So why not? When in Rome. So heading up this hill and see if the top has a good view. So up here's the hill we've been climbing, and we actually opted against taking photos from up here. Reason being, so we found this beautiful beach just here and made for a much better view. There's the ship we've been talking about, and back here's a beautiful village. It's got a nice church tower, and then we've got that snow-covered mountain in the background, which just looks awesome. And I went for 2 different shots. First one is kind of similar to what you're seeing in frame now, where I wanted a bit of a beach in the foreground, these rocks for some foreground interest, got the boat in shot as well as that mountain in the background. But for the second shot, I actually changed away from the wide angle lens and moved over to my telephoto lens right here. Reason being, I wanted to get a lot tighter and kind of frame it like this. Got a tiny bit of water in the foreground, just the village, so you can pick out a few more details, including this church here. And then at the backdrop I've got that mountain. So check it out. Here's the photo. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments below. Done shooting this beach for now, and don't exactly know how I feel about the shots yet, but sometimes it's worth taking them anyway, and you really only know once you hit the post-production, get on your computer, take a closer look, maybe start fiddling with the edit a bit, and then I'll decide if I like it or not. So fingers crossed, and in the meantime, let's head to the next location. And so the beach holiday continues. Made it to our next location, and this is one that Antoine and I discovered during our lead up to this trip, where we did a lot of scouting for locations, and actually went on Google Maps, and there's a great feature that I would recommend where you can create shared maps with somebody else, and then you can both contribute to them, add some photos to each locations, and it's a great way to planning a trip together with your mates. So we did that, and this is one of the places we found, and let me show you the composition in a second. So for this one, the composition's pretty obvious. Hut right in the middle, centered. But the important question you should ask yourself is the framing. Which focal length should you go with? So you want the hut to be your subject, of course, but how minimalist do you want it, or how zoomed in do you want it? So I picked my 35mm prime lens from Zeiss. Gives me good medium framing. And then additionally, I'm using a 10-stop filter as well as a medium grad filter. And the reason I chose those is because I want to go for a 2-minute long exposure, just to get a lot of cloud movement, as there's a lot of wind blowing out at sea, just to get a dramatic effect in the sky. And then the medium grad is perfect for this kind of composition, where you got a bit of mountain that you want to graduate in, but you've also got the horizon with the sea. So want to keep that graduated filter a little bit on the harder edge to get a bit of a differentiation between the foreground and the sky. So let's go check out the final photo. So get this, we took the wrong turn off the road and kind of got lost a bit, but by becoming lost we also found this haunted house over here. It looks sick. You gotta check this out. So this has to be the most inefficient road trip ever, because we keep having to pull over to the side of the road, but I guess we're kind of forced to, because do check this out. This looks ridiculous. So do I really need to explain what composition we're going to go for, or does this do all the talking? Let's go make this happen. So I could probably go on for ages why I find this incredibly beautiful, and I hope you agree too. But the main thing that I really love about this is you got that human versus nature element. And all these fishing boats and the houses just give this place so much scale, and the tranquility of the water with all these reflections is also incredibly beautiful. And I wanted to factor that into my shot. So let's talk about gear setup. So using my 18mm Zeiss Milvus prime lens, which is quite a wide angle and allows me to capture most of this harbour. And then attached to the front, I've gone with multiple filters again. In this case, a polarizing filter, a 6-stop filter, and a soft grad. And let's talk about what those do. The polarizing filter removes a lot of this white glare that you're seeing right now, just to get that really crisp water. The 6-stop filter allowed me a 30-second exposure time at f14 ISO 100, and through that I got the water ultra smooth and really highlighted those reflections even further. And lastly, the soft grad just helps a lot, because the foreground's always going to be a bit brighter. No, rather other way around. The foreground's always a bit darker and the sky always tends to be a bit brighter. So to get the scene really balanced and manage your highlights well, use the soft grad just to blend in the sky a bit and make that a bit darker. So let's go check out the final result. I'm super chuffed with it, but I hope to hear your opinion as well. Do let me know in the comments below. So I've walked around the side of the harbour and found, surprise surprise, some red Norwegian huts, always a plus. And yeah, I just wanted to try a different angle on the same bay, and it's kind of what I'm going for. So like you could have guessed, I love those red huts and going to use those as my foreground element, just to get a bit of perspective and depth in the photo. Again on the wide angle lens, going to keep these red houses in the foreground and then work the bay and the mountain in the background. So that's how it works in my mind, and sounds good to me, but I'll let you be the judge. Let's go head into the final photo. that was by far the most epic spot we've been to so far. And glad it wasn't raining like it was this morning, so always a plus as well. Super happy for the shots, really happy with them. And well, behind the steering wheel, let's keep going. So it's 20 to midnight at the moment, and the plan was to get in the car, find the first place that still has food and get it on the food immediately. But since we haven't had food since lunch, but second we drove off, we had to pull over immediately, and Antoine back here, bet you can barely just make him out back there. He's busy suppressing his hunger because this view is amazing. You gotta check this out. Even I'm hungry, I'm starving, I can feel my stomach growling, but there's no stopping. Gotta get this view, unreal. Check it out. So I'm not even going to talk you through the technicalities of a shot. This view, you can't really go wrong. Make it your own, get your camera out, make it happen, and you'll be onto a banger. And yes, there's filters involved, wide angles, whatever. You get on it, get your own interpretation of a shot, and you'll be onto a winner. Here's my version anyway. After a long and eventful day, we managed to find some little Norwegian red huts of our own, and are going to call it a night. It's actually 1 AM, believe it or not, despite being bathed in beautiful daylight. And yeah, last thing I want to say is I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you want to see some amazing photos of Norway, then you should probably be following this guy on Instagram at Antboucher. I'm going to link him in the description below as well. And it's good night from me. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and especially subscribe.
Cool. See you guys in the next episode of Discovering Lofoten.